Welcome to Dear Romance Writer, where three writers who always deliver happily ever afters offer questionable advice for all of your relationship, work, and life problems. I'm Zio Axelrod.
I'm Avery Flynn.
And I'm Roan Parrish. We have a great show for you today. I'm very excited that we have the fabulous Ottoman. Yay. Will you
In a bat sweater.
Very
In a bat sweater.
For anyone who is listening to the podcast, like I'm actually going to need you to go over to YouTube and look at EE's sweater because it's fucking fabulous and I want a copy of it. Get the same. Anyway, tell us about yourself. Who are you? What do you write?
Well, hello. My name is Ottoman. I write romance. Predominantly, I write romance with trans protagonists, and also romance with queer protagonists. For the last couple of years, I have been writing historical romance, but before that, I wrote mostly fantasy romance. So
cool. And it's so good, y'all. You need to check it out.
Well, and that's actually really complementary pairing because there's so much world building involved in each of those subgenres, like big time.
It's very true.
Yeah. Well, we're so happy to have you here.
Thank
you. We have an interesting letter today, guys. Are you ready?
Yes.
I always get these like
the goods.
I always read the like really interesting ones. Okay. Am I tripping about the bisexual girl I'm dating hooking up with other girls? That's the headline. Here we go. About 3 months ago, I, 24 male, started dating 21 female. We met at a party, but she lives 2.5 hours away from me. So it's mostly been long distance and not super serious, even though we both have strong feelings for each other. She's come to visit me quite a few times and we talk every day. Up until last week, I had also been casually dating other people, and I believe she has done the same. Last week, she hit me with the quote, "What are we?" Although it caught me super off guard, I told her I could see a future with her, and we basically agreed not to see other people. Fast forward to last night. She basically picked up some chick in one of her classes. She spent the night there and was sending me videos of them hooking up. I have no problem with her sexuality, but it honestly bothered me a bit that she was hooking up with another person. I sent her a text pretty late last night saying, quote, "If you want to hook up with other people, that's fine, and we can work something out, but please don't send me videos of it," end quote. I didn't even mean it in a snarky way. I was being genuine. I know she didn't have ill intentions of sending me those videos and probably thought I'd think it's hot. She explained to me that she doesn't see her hooking up with girls as cheating. I told her that it's definitely not as bad as sending me videos of her having sex with a man, but I think that gay relationships are just as intimate as straight ones. I don't want to make her feel like she has to repress herself. I'm a pretty open person and would be okay with an open relationship as long as we talked about it. Am I tripping? Any and all advice is appreciated.
This letter
faces. You guys go to YouTube and look at the faces. Look at the faces. Look at the faces.
Okay, number one, just to get out of the way, I know everybody, I am hoping that you feel the same way. I hope to God that it is consensual videoing and that the other person knows. Okay, right? That's just good to start off with.
Yeah,
number one.
Yeah,
because because otherwise this person went from just emotionally clueless and a little bit shitty to like evil.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Okay. Now you guys get into it. Roan wants to yell. I can see
that, right? Go.
I mean, clearly, like, it's not 100%, like, the video aspect is not 100% consensual because he didn't consent and he's not comfortable with it.
Oh, that's a good point.
You know, so of the 3 people, already one of them didn't consent. So hopefully the other person did, because that would just make it twice as bad.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yes. I'm so puzzled because it seems so stupid that I feel I must be missing something, but I'm coming down.
Wait, hold on. Roan just did the equivalent of, you know what? I think it's really funny when. She did the Roan equivalent of that. I'm puzzled.
Do people say it's really funny when, and then they don't mean that it's funny?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. well, I'm gonna have to look back on my entire life now and think of every time I've said that and actually meant it was funny, and think about all the ways that people thought I was being really sarcastic. But I'll just put that on the list to do
There
like
you go.
next week.
All right, so go on with your puzzlement.
I am sincerely puzzled by the fact that this is so stupid, because I don't like, anyway, probably they just don't understand anything about gayness is my takeaway, like, is that they're young, and neither of these people, like, at least the letter writer claims that he thinks homosexual relationships are just as intimate as straight ones, even though he obviously does it because he thinks that it would be worse to see her with another man. And I'm like, okay, I believe that you think these things are equal, but one of them's way worse to you. And that the girlfriend literally was like, let's be monogamous, and then sent him a video of her cheating on him. And so I feel very confused as to why she, who is queer, does not seem to think that her own queerness is valid, or that like it's okay to do because it's not real cheating. That's some super internalized homophobia that I'm like, maybe she's just 21 and doesn't get that it's internalized homophobia, but my confusion stems from like, how could you be so clueless?
I will say, in straight relationships, in some straight relationships, that is a get out of jail free card for the woman.
Sorry, if
I will say that,
and you're hooking up with other girls, you're not straight.
No, well, here's okay. Otherwise, straight relationships will, the male side of it will be get out of jail free card if it's another girl. Right? And it's very
basically
weird.
what he said. That's basically what he said.
Yeah. Well, I think what I get from that, yes, he obviously has some internalized shit that he thinks he's above, but has not worked out. Right. But he does say he would be open to an open relationship. That to me says, okay, if they want to keep it open, she wants to keep it open and see guys, see girls, see non-binary folks, see whomever, then that is, as long as it sounds to me like he's looking for boundaries, and he's
definitely the more mature person in this relationship. But
and she's 21, he's 24. They're both so young. They're both idiots at this point in time still. Not that old people can't be, but yeah.
I guess. Well, I mean, if he says any and all advice is appreciated. So, I mean, I'll just take him at his word and say, my advice is to like talk to your girlfriend, figure out what her queerness means to her. And that's work she's going to have to do. Like, you can't do that for her. I think probably chances are either this girlfriend that he's writing about is super queer and isn't capable, or like doesn't have the vocabulary to talk about that, and so has cast her own queer hookup for the male gaze because she is more comfortable thinking of hooking up with another girl as being for her boyfriend's titillation, as opposed to asking herself, what does it mean that I am attracted to women in this moment in my life? Like, that's kind of what I'm betting on based on the ages. And if that's true, like, probably she didn't really mean to hurt you, even though she really did. But also, this is like a rogue person who is like, because they haven't done that work, is going to go off and like maybe not harm other people, but definitely treat them not with the intentional care that she should be treating them with. And I think this is like across the board advice for any young people trying to like work out either queer relationships or poly relationships, is just like, just because suddenly something is like everywhere in culture and more accepted doesn't mean that you don't have to talk about it. And just because like people are like have more opportunities to be queer in public without being like, always killed for it, we can think like this is something that everyone just gets now. But what your girlfriend has demonstrated, letter writer, is that she does not actually know how to be queer or poly yet in a responsible relationship way, which is fine. Like she's probably just starting out and that's great. But if she's your partner and you've decided to be monogamous, then what happened is that she blatantly cheated on you and rubbed it in your face non-consensually, as EE said. And whether or not that was her intent or not doesn't matter, because that's what she did. And I'm sure it was really harmful and really fucking sucks. I cannot imagine that I was partnered monogamously with someone, and then like a couple days later or whatever, getting a sex tape of them with someone else. My heart would break. I would feel so harmed and betrayed. And I think that I would be like, wow, this is a person who has like such a different idea of what a relationship should be than I do, that it's maybe not going to work. But like, you don't know yet. So I think that you should talk to your partner, ask her like where her head was at, where her heart was at, and just be like, listen, I get that maybe you didn't think this is going to hit me the way that it did, but like, just because you have some notion that like all men want to see lesbian sex, that stereotype that you have does not mean that you know how I feel. And that's fucked up. So like, figure it out. Let's talk about it. Do you want an open relationship? If so, maybe nail down like exactly what the parameters of that are going to be, because clearly you don't have the same like default understanding of relationship stuff, and like start there. Because to me, this is like very cruel what she did. Very cruel.
I mean, it sounds like she doesn't know what a relationship is, period. Whether it's open or closed. Like she is the one who initiated them being monogamous, and then she does this. So her idea of what a relationship, I mean, who knows that the person that she sent the video with might think that they're in a relationship. Like you don't know. You know what I mean? Like she clearly has some issues, a lot of issues. And I think he's got some things to work through as well in terms of his idea of queerness, but he's definitely the more mature person in this thing. He's like, look, I like you, you like me, we live far apart. We had this arrangement that you decided to change. I went along with it. It's good for me. Whichever way you want to go, I'm cool. I just need to know where we stand.
Right.
You know, and she's like, I thought this was all good. And he's like, no, you know what I mean? So yeah, like you said, Ron, like they really need to find out whether they're on the same page, much less the same book, you know what I mean? Yeah. Because she may have questions about her own queerness, but she also has no clue how to be in a relationship. And this is just a recipe for disaster all around.
You know what I'm also wondering is, especially she's 21, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes, especially for women, that when you are, especially that young age, and you're figuring out your own sexual identity, you're figuring out what you're comfortable with, who you are sexually, all of those things, what you want to do, how to ask for what you want, how to, all of those things that you work through as you sort of gain more experience. I'm wondering is, just as he needs to sit down and figure out some things with himself, she does too. And I wonder if at least part of this is when you are more insecure in your sexuality and expressing yourself sexually, which at 21, I'm not making a call about how experienced or not experienced she is, but if she is less experienced than other folks, let's say, and is insecure about that, sometimes it can be easy to default that sexual experience is all about the other person as opposed to what I like. So let's say past relationships have been, even though she is bisexual, that part of it is the what's the other, voyeurs and
exhibitionist.
Thank you. It's more about the exhibition of showcasing it for the titillation of other partners, whether they are male or female, right? Oh, kitty cat sighting. Go to the YouTube video. But so I wonder if also part of that is her insecurity in her sexuality and in this relationship. A red flag for me is the fact that they've only been talking for 3 months and they live 2.5 hours away from each other and they're already really super serious. And she's the one that brought this up. So I think a lot of times there are folks that get sexuality, their own personal feelings about sexuality and defining what they want and what they need in a relationship, that there's so much involved in it, especially when you're young, that not saying she does, but it could be that she sees this as a way of saying, you like me enough to say, yeah, we're going to be sort of more consensual, so I'm going to give you this gift, right?
Yeah.
That sex is not about what she wants, but sex is about what she can provide the other person.
That's dark, dude, but I buy it.
It is dark, but I do think that happens. And, it's like a lot of times people stay with folks that don't sexually satisfy them, or don't, they'll stay with the person who doesn't care about their sexual needs, is because I think for some folks there is a thing in them that makes them think that sex should be about the other person, or about rewarding something in a relationship rather than what they want. Gozio, sorry, I didn't shut up for a long
my
time.
question is, do any of you guys think that she sent him videos before they became monogamous?
Interesting.
Because why did this just start right now?
Oh, that's a really good point, because if she's seeing this as already part of our thing.
Yeah.
And maybe if she is, and I don't know who they were hooking up with pre-becoming monogamous, but if she was, mostly hooking up with other women, and she doesn't see that as legitimate for whatever reason, that may also be why she was like, what are we, has she kind of seen them as her exclusive relationship because this is the male-female relationship that she's a part of, and therefore it's the legitimate one,
Or even she had a really hard time communicating what she meant. Maybe she meant, hey, you will be my exclusive male partner, right? And again, I mean, I'm probably giving way too much credit to her at this point in time, but again, like Roan says, you have to sit down, you have to communicate, and you have to be really kind of uncomfortably explicit in some things, because I don't know about you guys, but I have this happen to me all the time, where what I think I'm saying and what I think is the obvious parameters of something, and somebody else is like, no, I think of that as being something completely different, right? So I think that does happen. God, why is this shit so complicated?
Yeah, it really is. And I'm so I'm like haunted by what you said, Avery. No, really, I think it's really right on. That people who are socialized as women are so often taught that like your role in sex is to be an object, to be
a provider.
To give things. They don't call them sexual favors for no reason,
I hate that phrase so much.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but like I do think that it hits on exactly what you're saying. In this economy, this like sexual economy, if what she's thinking is, now that we are monogamous, he's done me a favor, and that means I need to reciprocate. And because insert like the scare quotes that mean this is society's horrible belief that I'm about to say, like, and so she's like, oh, well, he did me a favor, so I will return the favor. And since I know all straight men want to watch their girlfriends hook up with other women, and scare quotes, this is how I can do that. And I won't mind it because I am actually attracted to women. It's not like I won't like it, but I'll just give this to him. And that is, there's nothing wrong with that if it's consensual on all three parties' behalfs. But I'm like imagining this poor girl that she picked up from her class, assuming that the girl was into being filmed, where this person leaves the encounter being like, oh, okay, I said it was okay to film it because I thought that was hot, and now I guess I was like, a pawn in this person's sex life with her boyfriend. That can't feel great if you don't know that going in. This is
like the unintended unicorn,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing that bothers me about the theory that she's doing this for him is that she argued with him when he said it bothered him, and said that she didn't think that it counted because it was
that's true. That's a really good point.
Like if he said this, I don't like this makes me uncomfortable, her response should have been, oh, well then let's talk about this, and whatever her response was, it doesn't count. So I don't know.
I don't
Not
know.
saying that doesn't happen. It does happen a lot, but I don't know that that's the case in this.
That's a good point. I'd forgotten about it. So she basically used the zip code excuse.
What's the
You
zip
have
code?
all
Yeah.
these like terminology that I have no idea what it is.
Okay, the zip code excuse is basically if we are in different zip codes, different area codes, if it's a phone, which you can't really do anymore because now nobody's has their regional area code anymore. But
Yeah.
if you're in a different zip code, that it doesn't count as cheating.
Isn't that just an open relationship though?
Yeah.
When you're not together? Like I know so many people who are in non-monogamous non-monogamous.
Welcome to the
relationship.
weirdness of repressed straight relationships. That's all I can tell you.
Dude,
Is
people are
they're
not-
they're the loopholes. The loopholes.
But why is that straight coded? Like straight people have non-monogamous relationships. I don't get it. What's wrong
They
with it?
do, but that's where the repressed part comes in. Because it may or may not be mutual, number one, a zip code excuse. And it may be something to where it's, well, he will never see it, will never know about it, so it doesn't count.
Oh, so they don't tell the person that they're
Right.
partners. Oh, so it's just cheating.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. It's just an excuse for
But
cheating.
but they will argue straight up and down. It doesn't matter. It doesn't
EE's,
count.
I can see
We
EE's
were in
wheels
different
turning.
zip codes.
What does that have to do with anything? I don't understand that at all.
It's all the loopholes that people will come up to basically rationalize their behavior.
I guess I
Right?
understand that, but
So for her, it doesn't count because it was a girl,
do people
but
actually
it's all rational.
do people actually internally believe these excuses, these rationalizations? They sound like excuses to tell the other person, but does anyone actually think that it's not cheating if they cross over?
How
one
many people
that
are
in different-
assholes and think they're actually not?
Oh, lots.
Or at least they're trying to convince themselves. They may not actually believe
Yeah.
it, but they're definitely trying to convince themselves. It's like, you know, you go
We
to a
rationalize our bad behavior.
businessman goes to a conference somewhere and is hooking up with colleagues or something like that. Like that, you know, it's like it doesn't count because whatever.
Okay, but sorry, this is not the point, but this is just my I think that I'm autistic, realizing that I don't understand anything. But do they actually believe
Bad even
like,
for us.
I rationalize my behavior to other people if I have to, but I never believe it myself because I know that what I did was wrong, and I just know I have to make up an excuse so other people won't be mad at me. But it's not like I believe the excuse. Do they actually believe that they're not cheating?
I don't know.
I think sometimes. I think
so.
sometimes. I think people. I think there is part of a human condition. This is not necessarily in cheating on a relationship partner, or at least it's not limited to that, right? It's all sorts of things. Like I took that grape in the supermarket because I was hungry, and who cares about 3 grapes, right? It's still stealing. Is it a
Yeah,
big deal?
right.
No.
Right.
But what I'm saying though is we as human beings, I think, are personally, I think, are coded to try and make ourselves not the bad person.
It's about handling
And
guilt.
we will do it to ourselves. We might still know, but we want to believe it. And when you want to believe something enough, you find a way to do it.
Yeah, it's
Right.
about managing your own guilt.
People can manage their guilt.
Some people can manage their guilt.
All right, later I gotta Google some shit. Anyway, sorry, this is not the point. I've taken us on a complete, like, we don't need
But
to.
I've enjoyed this though. Yeah.
Well, it's always wild to hear, Avery, because I feel like you and I come from very, very different lived experiences. And so often it's very interesting for me to encounter things that are to you sort of like very normal. Most people that you would talk to would know what these things mean, things. Cause I feel like I just get this whole glimpse into like a world that I know nothing about, and I don't get them immediately sometimes, but it's really fun to have you explain them to me.
Well, see, and I love being your old white straight Midwestern guide.
Thank you. Truly, you do God's work.
Aren't you glad you came, EE?
Yeah.
Ugh, I feel
Oh my
bad for
goodness.
this woman who is queer and likes having sex with other women and thinks that she needs to make it not count. To me, that's like the heart. I mean, the boyfriend,
That's heartbreaking.
letter writer, you should dump your girlfriend. Just like probably you're not in the same place. Like that's my TLDR. But I really feel bad for this woman who is not okay with her own queerness, or at least like devalues it in sad ways that are gonna make her make self-destructive and destructive to other people choices because she doesn't know what she's doing and doesn't feel secure that like she's worth having sex with women just because she wants to. And I feel really sad for her, and I'm glad she's only 21, and I hope that she joins like a local, they met at a party, right? I hope she joins like a LGBTQ awareness straight alliance. I don't know what they call these things anymore, but I hope she like does that, gets some queer friends, gets an analysis, and is like, I can have sex with whoever I want, and also should still treat people kindly and generously.
Well, and to learn to value all of that, value all of that.
Yeah. Well, okay, since we all kind of agree, should we move on to our chat about writing chat?
Yes.
So we're talking connections today. Let's talk book connections. Do you all like to write books that are interconnected, like series or world? Do you prefer writing really true standalones? What about as a reader? What is your reading preference in those things?
I like writing interconnected series, or at least that they're set in the same world, because I am lazy and I have already built that world, and I've already set that world's rules and its location and the things that are there and all of that stuff. So I'm lazy, and so I enjoy that. Feedback I get from my readers is they enjoy it because it's like going to a familiar spot, right? So they enjoy that. As a reader, I love it up to a point. For me, it kind of depends. Like, there are people who are amazing writers, and I've like dipped into their series here and there. They're amazing, but the series that is all interconnected, like to the, not like just like they are in the same location, but I mean like every character knows each other and they're 76 books long or something like that. I am so scared of that. I am so scared of that. So yeah, that's kind of where I fall on it.
What about you, E?
I think I like the idea of writing books that are in a series or connected via the world building. In like kind of practice, I'm actually really terrible at that. I am in practice, I really go for like the shiny new thing, probably like 99% of the time. And so like I always go into it being like, oh, this is such a cool world. I can write multiple books set in this. And then usually I only write one, and then I write something completely different. So that's kind of like as far as writing goes. Although, you know, I still think it's cool. And I think that it would be a cool idea to just like really get into one specific universe that intensely. As a reader, I think that I definitely do like series. I think that to me as a reader, you have to be careful writing kind of large multi-book series that they don't kind of all blend together and become very samey. I think that there are some authors who can write books set in the same universe with, you know, the same cast of characters, and each book is distinct enough that it really works for me. And then there, you know, are sometimes when I read it and I'm like, I feel up into a point that this was good, and then it just like felt like reading the same book over and over again. So
yeah. What about you, Zio?
I mean, all of my books occur in the same universe, in that there will be mentions of characters or places or whatever, except for The Girl with Stars in Her Eyes. That's the only one I couldn't do with because, you know, Sourcebooks owns that universe. So I can't do that. But you know, whether it's a hockey romance or romantic suspense, there's some element that crosses over in all of the books. And the book that I'm working on now bridges two of those other subworlds or whatever, subdivisions we'll call them. And I like that because it's like giving the reader an Easter egg. And I like that when I'm reading as well. I read some interconnected universes. Like I'm reading one now where it's multiple authors writing in a shared world. And it's kind of fun.
Those
like
are always so fun.
yeah, it's
I
like
love those
I'm
as a
in this
reader.
little town in Vermont, like visiting the bookstore and the wine store, wine shop and all that stuff. And it's kind of fun. But yeah, I think when it gets to a really, really long series, it does, like EE said, get kind of like, okay, wait, have I read this? Is this? You know what I mean? But when I get those little Easter eggs, when it's sort of like in a larger shared universe, that's my favorite thing to write and to read.
Yeah, I feel similarly to all of you. But I feel like EE, what you were saying about like doing all the work and thinking how fun it would be to create all these other books in this world and then being like, ooh, shiny JK.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so bad about that. Like,
yeah, me too.
in order to do multiple books in a series, I kind of have to have written the second one before the first one comes out, because that only then can I like have developed each book is distinct enough, and I'm not trying to like make the series artificially longer or anything like that. If I put out one book and I haven't written a sequel yet, it would be a miracle if I managed to go back, because probably what I've done already gone on to like write 2 other things before it comes out. And even if I loved the series or the world, to go back there feels like kind of like going backward as opposed to moving forward. And I am like, I don't care super much about novelty as a consumer, but like in my own daily business, I really need like fun, novel, if I feel like I've done something already, someone could be like, wouldn't you love to do it again and get better at it? And I'm like, no, I would love to start a brand new thing that I also know nothing about and begin at the very beginning. Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
I'm not calling you out on your hobbies here, but I'm calling you out on your hobbies.
Seriously, I feel like we need to start, like there needs to be a neurodivergent hobby swap.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Oh,
where
be
when
cool.
I've taken up like needlepoint or something and I'm obsessed with it for 2 months, and then day 61 dawns and I'm like, what? Needlepoint? Never heard of it. Now it's woodworking. And I'm like, cool, but I have all this stuff. And so I just need to go on the swap and be like, have taken up woodworking, must give away all embroidery. And then someone's like, cool, have taken up paper arts, must give away all woodworking. And I'm like, great, give me the, anyway, we need one of those. And same with authors. I feel like we need a swap where it's like, I created this world. It's great. I'm bored of it now. Here, you take it and write a book in it. And I'm going to go on to do this other thing, which I think is like one of the brilliant things about having a, like, is it the Serena Bowen world that you're currently reading? Yeah. I think
that
that's
one and the Franklin U.
It's brilliant because it's like you get to create this place, you get to keep a finger in it and like kind of curate a world and like who you want to write in it and what kinds of stories are there. But then you yourself get to go on and do other things like, hi, brilliant marketing and brilliant personal not having to do it anymore. I think that's great. As a reader, I like both. I actually love a standalone, and I am sometimes disappointed by how series-driven romance is, because I love a really good standalone is amazing. And I know that it's like a publishing thing because it's for money, but like when people have standalones, I get really excited because I can dip in, see if I like that author, but not need to read 76 books. And then if I like them and I'm into it, I can read the 76 books. But I'm a super mood reader. And if I stop doing any one thing to segue to anything else, I never come back to the thing. So I can be like 8 books into a series that I'm loving. And if for some reason I forget my book and I'm somewhere else and I have to buy a new book to start, it's a series I will never see you again.
Yes, I'm like, girl. I do that with TV shows too that I'm binging.
Yep.
Where I'm like, I've fallen through and then you catch up and I'm like, and then I start watching something else and it will literally be 6 months and I'm like, oh my God. That's why I hate now that they're starting to drop stuff on a weekly basis rather than all at once, because I'm like, no, I am not made for that.
Yeah,
I am not made for that anymore.
I'm just like so many series that they do weekly. I watch like 3 episodes and then no more, never again, even if I really, really loved it, Yeah.
It's so hard too, because like I think especially during the pandemic, my media consumption increased like 100% just
Mhm.
because I have more time at home. And so I'm doing like I'm watching more things, reading more things, and the cumulative effect is that I cannot keep things straight anymore. I used to laugh at my parents who are addicted to all of those like British, Swedish, and Norwegian mystery shows. They watch all of them, and they'll sometimes watch like different ones on the same night, and they would start talking about them and be like, oh, this person, is that the one who stabbed the guy? And then the other one will be like, no, that was in the Norwegian show, this person was strangled. And they're like, no, that was the Dutch show. In this show they were beaten to death with a frozen rabbit. And I'm like, you guys are hilarious and super
Somebody
old.
please put that in a book. Please beat
Please.
somebody to death with a frozen rabbit. I would be so happy.
I feel like it's a classic like leg of lamb, then you cook it and serve it to them situation. But I would laugh at them and be like, you guys are so old. And now I'm like, I am so old. I can't remember. And so they'll put the like previously on thing, and Timmy will go to skip it because we just watched the episode before. And I'm like, ooh, I'm so sorry. I'm going to need that previously. Like, that's my emotional support previously on. And I need it episode every series, no matter what, because it's the only way that I can like keep track of anything.
Well, see, this is why I like watching. Okay, I love my husband. I like watching like the shows I really, really like without him because he won't binge. Like if I can get 2 episodes out of him, it's like score. But then he won't watch it again for a week. It's not like I can get 2 episodes a night until we've gone through the whole thing. He's got really bizarre self-control, and it disturbs me.
That's concerning.
So if I really like something and then he's like, yeah, that's not a show for me, I don't want to watch that with you, I'm like, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Same.
Binge, that's the way, I mean, that's kind of the way it has to be for me to even enjoy it, because it's like if I don't remember the detail and the nuance, I'm missing things, and I never like to miss things. So if I'm going to watch something, I really have to be like, okay, the next 12 hours of my life, this is what I'm doing. And that's how I like to do it, so it's fine.
As a reader too, I think that's what I love about, that's the thing that has made me most happy about digital books and the ability to just click and get the next one, is it makes it so much easier. This is all just, feeding the beast here. But as a reader, it makes it so much easier to fall down somebody's rabbit hole and binge their whole backlist and go through and like, that's dangerous. And then I'll like sit up and I'll realize I've been reading the same author for like 3 months now, and I'm like, I'm a stalker, sorry. Especially if it's somebody that makes me feel awkward.
Fair. No, I think that's so true. And I remember being a kid and the way book reading went, which was like, I got taken to the library twice a week when my mom had aerobics at the Y, because it was across the street from the library. And while she was at aerobics, I was checking out books, but like it was a public library. And if they didn't have book 3 in the series, then like you're shit out of luck until someone returns it. Or maybe, oh my gosh.
Interlibrary loans took forever.
I know. I'm not going to go off on this, like, but I should write a book about it sometime, about the like mysterious book 4 in this one series that I desperately wanted, that the librarian was like, someone has checked this out and never returned it. They've had it for a year. I don't know what happened to them. And I was like, but my book, and now I need to go write a mystery novel about this person.
Well,
but yeah,
wait, no, I'm thinking that's the perfect meet cute.
Ooh.
She or he tracks the other person down.
That is really
and cute. Says, I need that damn book, and they've lost it, or they left it at grandma's house. So then they have to road trip to go
coffee
get
shop with the library label on it, and they're like,
that's and she goes and checks them. Somebody write that book, because I really want to read it.
Okay, that's great. Well,
now I really want there has to be a frozen rabbit murder in there too.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I can make that happen. Well, now I love this, and I'm going to go write this, and I'm going to blame you all in the acknowledgement.
And it'll be in a different universe.
There you go. Yeah, it was so like it built suspense, because you had to wait, or like, even if you could go to I don't know, we were a library family. I feel like there are bookstore families, but we weren't one. But then when I was older, even like in college, I remember if I would finish a book, I would be like, well, I have to go to the Borders and buy the next in the series. And that meant like leaving campus and getting a ride and going to the thing. And if you finish the book at 3 a.m. and the bookstore is closed, like, what do you do till 10 a.m. when they open again? Just suffer? Yeah. Like,
yes,
truly, we walked horrible both ways.
Okay, question
you
for
young
you guys.
kids don't know the pain that we went through.
So have you ever read a series or watched a series where you're like, I can't do this in one sitting because it's going to be over too fast. Let me slow down and like drag it out.
Yes, I break in case of emergency stuff. Like I still haven't watched the last season of Schitt's Creek.
Oh,
that is there for when I really have to have it. Like, yeah, my next breakdown, that will be what I'm watching.
I hope you have a breakdown really soon because it's good. I also saved it.
Like, I would like that to be on a shirt. I hope you have a breakdown. Well, have you guys ever accidentally read the last book or watched the last episode in a series and not realized it until you're done? And that's awful. Awful. It's so sad.
Not the last episode, but I've watched something that was like in season 3 or something. And I was like, oh, wait, there's a whole lot going on here that I don't know about. And then, yeah.
I have to say that, like, I have done that, and I kind of like that.
Tell me everything. Change
Chaos monster. Chaos monster.
Because it makes me interested and excited. I'm like, I also like being spoiled, right? Because I'm always like, oh, that's so cool. How did they get from the beginning to this point? Like, tell me all of it. Like there's a little bit of a kind of like a puzzle aspect to it, where instead of like getting swept along in the narrative, it's more the enjoyment comes more from how is this functionally going to work, and the pieces are going to go together. So I think that, that can be cool sometimes.
That makes so much sense, because I'm now realizing that actually that's a style of suspense that people write all the time, is the first scene of the book is the murder or whatever.
And then you flip back.
It's like, 2 years earlier or something. So actually you're just like making your own 2 years earlier.
Right.
That is true. So I was watching.
I love that. Actually, I love that way of thinking about it. And I'm in a time.
Sorry, go ahead, Roan. I didn't mean to.
No, you're good. You're good.
I was going to say that sort of the inverse of this is like I was watching Do Revenge on Netflix. I was getting so incredibly anxious that I had to stop watching it in the middle to go read the spoilers for it.
Oh yeah,
because I knew like I was not mentally prepared, even though I knew there was a swap or a change or a surprise, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I wasn't mentally prepared for it, and it was making me so anxious. I had to stop watching it and then went and did the spoiler. Now I read spoilers all the time and it doesn't bother me, but I very rarely have to do it like literally hit stop and then go and look it up to see what happened. But that one had me really bad. I hated that. Yeah.
Did you end up enjoying the movie? Oh, you didn't finish yet.
You know what? I very much enjoyed it up to, I think if you, depending on your experience with that type of girl at that age, I think also makes an impact on it. Very enjoyable, but it was not on the Heathers level for me. I think it just hit a little bit closer. So I think that's why it made me so anxious. But yeah, so sometimes I will do that like in the middle. This was just the latest example, but in the middle of a series or something, and then I never finish the series. Or in romance, I'm sorry, sometimes when you get to the couple that you hate or the couple that you don't care about, if it's a different couple in each book,
right,
sometimes I'll skip it, and sometimes I will just be like, no, that's the end of that series for me. Right?
Yeah.
Or just read like a really long, involved review of that book, so you at least get the
yes!
plot points, and then you move on. Yeah.
Wow. God,
that's so interesting. I will say, I think that Netflix could make all of our lives a whole lot easier, or any streaming platform, by just like, if it's about to be the last episode that is available, I just need a tiny little banner to come up.
Oh, that
and
would be
saying,
lovely.
you are about to view the last episode available of this show, just so that I feel emotionally prepared, because this isn't even a spoiler issue. It's like a scarcity issue, that like, I want to really know when I'm going into the last episode so that I can like give it the proper gravitas to end the series, or like, so that I can emotionally be like, okay, in 34 minutes, this journey is over and I'm going to need a new journey. And like, emotionally, I need to be prepared for that, which is funny because I hate spoilers and I never look ahead and I don't ever want to know, but like, I want to know an end is coming, at least, so that I can like,
yeah, I'm
God,
hyper
we are
aware of how
so
many episodes
needy.
there are in a series.
yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because there are some series where it's like, if there are only a certain number of episodes left, and I know I'm going to want to watch TV for longer than that, because often I'll watch TV like while I'm cooking or cleaning or something, then I don't want to have to stop in the middle of my activity and like end a series and choose what to watch next. So it's like, it's the wrong amount of time to fit into my current TV watching, or like if it takes me by surprise and I thought there was going to be more, then I am like, should I go back and rewatch it? Because I didn't fully appreciate that this was going to be the end of something, which, you know, then I'm like, was the show bad? Because I probably should have been able to tell that it was the end, just narratively. But yeah.
There really is. I think they need to like explore whatever this is in our brain or our DNA or body chemistry, whatever it is that makes us like this, because I think you see this a lot with romance readers, especially because we're so series based within our genre. I wonder if there's a crossover, considering the four of us are all like super passionate about this. I would say there probably is. But the other thing that we are super passionate about is the fact that we got to have E on here tonight.
Yes.
Thank you so much. You like that? That was a good transition. That was the worst transition. But E, thank you so much for being with us. Please let folks know where they can find you, and what books, if they have not gotten lucky enough to go down the rabbit hole and binge with you yet, what they should start their binge with.
So you can find me on most social media platforms. I think probably at this point, I am most active on Instagram and Twitter. And my handle is a Cosmos Machine. And my website is cosmosmachine.com. Or you can just Google EE Arkman and it comes up. So
we'll have that link in our show notes and everything.
Yes.
Right. So probably I would think that where you should start really depends on what kind of romance you like to read. My two most recent titles are The Companion and The Craft of Love, both of which are historical romances. A Craft of Love is very sweet. It has a bisexual heroine and a trans hero. The hero is a silversmith. The heroine runs her own quilting business in 19th century New York City. And it's very light and sweet and kind of comforting. The Companion is set in the 1940s, and it is a poly romance with two trans women and a trans man. All of them are authors and artists, and
all right, and I'm holding it up because the cover is so pretty on that.
The cover is amazing.
Sorry, I couldn't get my books to come up with the whole thing, but it's really, really gorgeous.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I bought that book off that cover. Not gonna lie. I was like, ooh, and then I very much enjoyed it. So highly recommend.
Yeah, and that one is high heat. So
Very
if you
steamy.
like so if you like more high heat titles, then I would definitely recommend starting with that one.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much for being here with us. We had a lot of fun with you. We hope you enjoyed it as well.
Yeah.
Same goes for those of you who are listening. Thank you so much, or watching on YouTube. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Please do send in your letters of your problems, work, life, or romance related. We also allow you, that weird conversation you overheard on the bus on the way to work, your friend's complaint, whatever it may be. Send us other people's problems as well. We would love it. You can email it at advice@dearromancewriter.com. We have a email submission form on our website, dearromancewriter.com, that you can use. You can also just DM us on social media. All of that works. We would love to hear from you. You will not be hearing from me for a while, though. Roan and Zio very kindly let me be a high maintenance baby and go on sabbatical for the rest of the year. So I know you guys are really going to miss the Midwestern twang in your ear. And Roan, you can still, please do reach out if you need that straight white Midwestern, emotional support human. I'm here.
I know I will.
All the rest of you, good luck, have fun, send in those letters, and because we can't wait to give you more questionable advice from this trio of happily ever after. Thanks, y'all. Bye.
Thank you so much for subscribing to Dear Romance Writer. Remember to keep sending in those letters at dearromancewriter.com. We can't wait to tell you what to do. Dear Romance Writer is part of the Frolic Podcast Network. Find more podcasts you'll love, frolic.media/podcasts.